Hello and welcome to Pop of Passion. Join me, Jax Barker, comedian and highly sensitive person, along with a guest every other week as we delve into our deepest passions, from being a plant dad to conquering insecurity with comedy. If you relish the memory of an unexpected late-night conversation with a stranger about their obscure passion, the kind where you have tears in your eyes one second and are doubled over laughing the next, this is the podcast for you. Hello and welcome to Pop of Passion. I'm Jax Barker and I'm so glad you're here. The FBI is aware of my guest today, and it isn't because she took 3 solid years of improv as a young woman. She's a dancer, actress, writer, producer, advocate, and a wonderful friend. Please welcome Rebecca Bulnes.
Okay, obsessed with the fact that you put dancer first.
I had to. That's who you are to me. You're a mover, a shaker.
First and foremost, I am a dancer. It was my first love. It was my first passion.
Yeah, totally.
Truly. So, yeah, and that's, I wish to continue to see myself as a dancer, and it helps when someone else is like, yes, you're a dancer still.
You are. You're still dancing through life,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I have like staggered work in and off in office days and like at home days. So today's one of my home days. And I love that because I can just not smoke weed. But I can have a TV on while I'm doing work. I can say, look at this cute boyfriend. He's so cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been that. It's been nice.
That's so great.
How are you?
I'm great,
Am I allowed to ask?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like I'm doing great. I had therapy this morning. My therapist sang happy birthday to me. Like, it was so nice.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
she's
beautiful.
A gem. Yeah. And it was weird because
Wait, it's your birthday today?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, I was about to like scream so
no,
loud.
Yeah. But it's weird because like 2 weeks ago, my therapist was like, now this is the 3rd time I'm getting this message. And she often gets messages from somewhere. And I was like, please tell me. And I like always get scared because I don't know what she's going to say. And she was like, Bex. And I was like, okay, yeah, what? And she's like, I just keep getting this vision of the two of you. And I'm like, I was like, she's on the calendar. Like, I don't know. And then, so it's funny how she
That's so wild.
Called you in. Yeah.
And I listened. Well, I listened to you and the world. No, yeah. I mean, in what world am I like, no, I'm not going to do this podcast. Can you imagine?
Oh
that would
gosh.
Be ridiculous. Well, it's so nice to see you on the screens.
Thank you. It's great to see you,
I must
too.
say that.
So, Rebecca Bulnes, as I know you, Bex, what is your passion?
So right now, I mean, I have a lot of passions, but right now I'm very passionate about community. And that's like a really big, broad term, but like community, my context for community is like through activist spaces and through like Abolition Park, which is a community that I'm a part of that started as a protest outside of City Hall. We were there for a month, sleeping there, etc., building like a big a sort of like abolitionist space, whether we knew it or not. And yeah, like that encampment was raided by the police after a month, but that community has like stayed strong and has gone through many evolutions and has been challenged, and it's like really hard work, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm obviously obsessed with it because I am still here with all these people trying to figure it out. So yeah, like, but I also was realizing like, that's the community I'm passionate about right now in my life. And like, that's the lens that I view it through. But like, looking back, I feel like I have been a very community driven person.
For sure.
In other ways of like, oh, I had a dance community. I had like art community. I had a comedy community. I had a music community. Like that's how I sort of like I grew up through communities,
For
you know?
sure. Yeah, so it's just evolved like different spaces.
Yeah, and I feel like this it's all sort of like training for this sort of community work where it's like I don't know, sometimes those communities are born of like a common interest and sometimes they're born of like a common need,
Right.
and like that's intense. And this type of community work, which like has a lot to do with care work, is obviously like way more arduous. It's not like, it's not all like just we're chilling and we are people who know each other,
Yeah.
which was kind of what like a music scene or a dance scene would be like, whatever.
We're not just like
But
going to three-peat on
definitely
a Monday. That's not our community. Like
right.
this is different.
Yeah, and like what it means to be in community with people, where it's like, shit, there's a lot of people in my community that I I'm like, you, I love you so much and you drive me crazy. And like, I love you, but I don't really like you. We're not really friends, but I love you. And like, I
Yeah.
care for you. That's a real thing. It's community is not friends, like
Right.
it's a totally different thing. In fact, I'm in community with people. I've become friends with people that I never like, that, who knows if I would have ever met before. And there are also people that I'm like, yeah, no, I care for you, but we wouldn't have been friends before this, and like I don't necessarily need to be friends with you now, but I'm in
Right.
community with you,
Yeah.
which is an interesting line and also a challenging one interpersonally. I think with communities, it's like understanding that we don't all have to be best friends to be in community with each other, and understanding that in a way that like does not protect our ego, where it's like, oh my God, if I'm not best friends with you, am I still in community with you? Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
We
But it's like
need,
a thing to
yeah.
um, figure out.
Yeah. Every community
But
needs an Andrew O'Connell.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God,
Was
she
that
just did
rude?
it.
Was that rude?
She blasted. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
I didn't.
It was real. I mean,
I had like
yeah,
three names in
yeah,
my head. I don't know why I went with him. It's probably because he was in our first like ever class at Second City. So I was like, he's safe. I can say
for
his name.
sure.
But I had two other guys. I was like, I could name them, but I was too scared.
Well, now I need to hear them too. Just mouth it to me and it'll be just like a fun joke with you and me.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh, I got the first. I
I
think.
that was
I.
too vague because the
I think
first
I
name
know.
could be anyone. Um,
Right.
is this fun for the
I'm like,
podcast audience? I'm gonna text you it later.
It's so okay. Yeah, text it to me because it's like I know, like it flashes in my head and then it goes away. It's like I know this name, but then I feel like I'm missing. I'm
It's
missing
okay.
something.
You're like lucky to be
But I
removed
want
from the
it.
Chicago comedy scene, and now you're like doing like great work. So you're on the right side of history, lady.
Oh my God. We're all just trying.
No, that's
I
so
just
true. We all are just trying, yeah. But
yeah, yeah. Every day. And that's the thing, another thing about communities, it's like it's very much like it's a relationship, and this obviously it's a relationship, but it's like, okay, I have to like really choose every day to like want to try or whatever, like
yeah,
and choose to like answer the phone to someone when I maybe want to be alone or whatever, or choose to like, stay out that extra hour because you want to make sure someone's okay or whatever, blah blah. I mean, like it is a thing, and it's also a very real test of your ability to like set boundaries, of which
yeah.
like I have famously been bad at and I'm really trying to get better at, because it is like totally necessary to your longevity, I think, as is
Yeah,
like anything for, but I can conceptually say like, oh, if I want to be a part of like the Black Lives Matter movement and like the abolitionist movement, like I gotta set boundaries so I don't burn out, and and
right.
I can be in it for the long haul. But those are also just words. Who knows what that means? I mean, I don't know yet. I'm figuring it
Yeah,
out.
no, that's great. Like no pressure. I wonder
Yeah.
where this drive like comes from for your passion for community. Like, do we give Carmen
Hmm.
props, your mother? Like, do we give
Right.
Patty? I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, where do you think that comes from? Because not everyone, there are a lot of
Yeah.
loners in this world. And
Mm.
you have always been such a social butterfly since I've known you. And it's like you've turned it into something powerful many times.
Thank you. I mean, that's it's funny. Like when I think on especially my work with Abolition Park, like when we were at the park, and like it was, I was there. I think I counted. I was there like I missed like maybe 2.5 days there. I was like nonstop over there, and I'm just like trying to thinking about like what did I actually do there, or whatever. And it's like, oh, I feel like I just like talk to people, and people would present a need, or I would like identify a need and be like, okay, I think this person could help with this, could you help me with this to do this, blah blah blah. And it's just like all this little like running around, and I think it is like that is something kind of inherent to me, probably from my mom, just like this want to like bring people into the fold, like
Yeah.
I grew up watching my mom like um I grew up watching my mom being the person, the first person to dance at the wedding, who will like grab your hand and bring
Yes.
you in and get the people who like really want to dance but like aren't stepping out to do it yet, like she'll grab them. Like I grew up watching that, and I also think, yeah, probably dance like helped that, because that is was like a community of girls that I like grew up with for a minute, that like I just felt very comfortable, even though like sometimes I felt like an outsider in those spaces. There was something about like just being together with people who understand this fundamental thing about you that I found like really comforting. And I even think about like the types of movies I like, and just the type of art I like to consume. Like I love watching stuff where it's just a group of people together working hard to try to do this thing. That's why I
Yes.
love Spotlight. Famously, I love Spotlight.
Yes.
Spotlight vibes, Cooper vibes. Like so I think that's just something that's always been really attractive to me. And I don't know, if I try to really get deep about it, which I haven't done before this moment, um, I feel like, I'm a child of divorce, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a child of divorce that had like a lot of family. Like, I had like two moms, three moms at a time, two dads, well, like a
Right.
lot of iterations of family. And craving I don't think I'm necessarily craving family from community, like, oh, my parents broke up, so I've never known that sort of, I want to choose my family. I don't think it's really that. I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe it's because I like actually did grow up with like a very unconventional family structure for a while, and like also saw the value in, I don't know, the value in choosing your family as well, because uh, family is so I was going to say fickle. It's not fickle, but like as I understood it then, it was malleable. It wasn't permanent, like
Yeah.
family, whatever it means to you, whether tangibly or just like emotionally, it's going to change, So I think maybe that growing up led me to like do, I don't know, yeah, to find value in community and groups of friends, while also still but it's weird. I also think of myself as someone who was very alone for a while, kind of floating through those things. So I don't know. I'm just like super psychoanalyzing, but I also think of my position in the community like as very like work driven. Like that's just like how it sort of came to be. Though I'm not gonna say like I'm like, but I've also like had times where I'm just like not knowing what that the work is, or not doing it. I've had moments, but like I think that I don't know. I have like uh group project like leader vibes,
Oh yeah.
like the person that ends up doing the shit in the group project and like sort of resents it, but is kind of like, it's fine. I want it to like to get done. But I also feel like in this community, I felt I've met a lot of other like group project leaders. And so like working with those people is so great. And it's like, yeah, maybe I seek community to like sort of seek validation and seek people like me, you know, that I can like be on a certain level with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about it a lot, like in like historically, but yeah, I never thought that like I think I've only in this past year conceptualized it as community, you know.
Right.
Whereas I've always just said like since I was little like that I just love people. I think people are fascinating. I feel like pretty empathetic and I love situations where I can be around a lot of weirdo people, you know, and I've like
Yeah.
made that happen.
Yeah.
So yeah. I also think it's just the way of the future, you know, abolition,
Oh,
blah blah
for
blah.
sure. Yes.
So that really made me recontextualize it, you know, like if community was coming from like an emotional personal place like all my life whether I knew it or not, like this past summer gave it a sort of like direction. And now that's the commitment to it. That's where it's really coming from, you know,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, it totally does. It's interesting. We're recording on May 25th, 2021, and it's exactly a year since the murder of George Floyd. And
Yeah.
it's like, you keep saying, like, this past year. And, like, I'm not saying that's when Abolition Park started, but it's, like, very interesting that it's
Mm-hmm.
like, this is the timing that this worked out when the whole
Yeah.
world kind of finally started to take notice. And
Mm-hmm.
like nothing has been done. I'm not going to say anything like your work. I'm just saying, but politicians, you know what I mean?
Right.
We're working, we're getting
Yeah.
there, we're like pushing
Yeah.
people, but it's just interesting, like the timing of it. It's like exactly
Yeah.
one
I
year.
mean, Abolition Park itself is coming up on its anniversary in like 2 months, or the start of it is next month.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great. It is really like a year, and like it's very it's very wild because I mean everyone can say like, oh, this past year has felt like a million years and like really quick at the same time, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
that was really very real. I think I've been thinking a lot lately about like there's this threat of like things going back to normal, and it's like a serious threat, but it's also something that's happening to me, right? Like
Right.
I've been talking to like my comrades, you know, my
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
some people about it, and it's like this sort of thing of like knowing like we cannot go back to normal, and also knowing that circumstances have changed and like now we have to really reevaluate like how can we push this fight through the normalcy
Right.
where, you know, and like I'm asking myself questions all the time about like, you know, there are times that I don't go to a march, or that I'm not as invested in a certain thing that I want to be because I'm, you know, looking for jobs or I'm doing this other thing, and like trying to figure out what like allowing space for me to do things that are self-preservation but
Mm-hmm.
also sometimes feel indulgent, you know.
Yeah.
um but I think and I think we're all scared that we're gonna sort of slip away, like, you know, especially the people that are very, you know, organizing based and who like have want to get the work done, you know. There's the fear of like people trickling away, right? Like it's
Yeah.
been a year,
Yeah.
and like and there's also the question of like what do we have to show for it? And the thing is, and I understand that question, and you could say that about all protest, right? Like what was the point unless you had like this real tangible thing, whatever. Like that's a line of questioning that I think is a dangerous one to go down. You know, it distracts from the point. They want you to ask that.
Right.
But whenever we talk about like, okay, what have we accomplished in the last year? I really do every time come back to this community. And
Yeah.
like, this is a community that like, you know, is far from perfect and is not what it was the first day it was, but that it exists, but also kind of is, but also isn't. And has like taken steps back and steps forward. And, you know, there's a lot of people who no longer feel associated to it, or they do, or, there's a lot of stuff, but I still think it's such an accomplishment because we all still see each other like every week, if not every day,
Yeah.
like we are in each other's lives. We are checking in on each other. We are fighting with each other. We are consistently day to day, whether we realize it or not, like trying to figure out this abolition shit,
Right.
and like trying to figure out this community shit, which like my good friend, who's been like huge in my, like a huge person for me and my evolution into like abolition, we talked about it early on because we were just, exhausted and just like so sort of like, oh my God, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? Like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
She was like, like community work is fucking hard. That's why no one wants to do it. Like community and care work, no one wants to do this job. It's fucking hard. And every day that I like still know these people and still care about these people and still want to organize with them, like I think is an accomplishment. And I think it's like it's very hard to put into tangible evidence, right? But like abolition, is it requires radical imagination. Abolition
Yes.
is an idea, but everything is an idea.
Yeah.
And we are like trying to figure out how to practice abolition so that we can like implement it, like it's in the air, but
Right.
I really think it's so important, and like it's why I'm still here.
Yeah, no, I hope it didn't come off like I was saying like you guys haven't accomplished anything. I was saying
No,
like
not at all,
on
not at
a
all.
level of like Joe Biden, I'm coming for you. Like, come on,
Right.
you know what I mean? Even like,
No, definitely. It's
yeah,
very hard, and it's very, it's really hard, and because there's also just so many ideas and arguments over like what is the best route to get what we want.
right.
Is it through politics? Is it through disruption? Is it
Mm-hmm.
through, there's so many different ideologies, but like the bottom line is, abolition is the only path to freedom. Like
Yes.
that really, I really do believe that in my soul. And I hope that, I didn't want to come on here and like do the, like Rebecca Bulnes talks abolition, because I also know like I'm very much a novice. I'm very much learning every day. There are people who like know so much more than I do, but I will say that like I've been I think I've tried to at least be very open to it. And I think I can speak to it so much better now because I'm actually trying to do it than I would, maybe if I just read a book, like there are times
Totally.
that I feel like I can speak on it and like I can do that confidently. And that's like kind of huge for me. I'm not that kind of person. I've never been so, I'm very intellectually insecure, but famously did not get into NYU.
Okay,
You did.
okay.
It's
Let's
fine.
stop.
Do I live with an NYU grad and professor now? Yes, it's kind of insane. But yeah, I don't know. But I didn't want to, I am not the voice of abolition. I was like, I'm going to sneak abolition into this because to me, it's like,
Yeah.
they're inextricable. But I do encourage everyone to just like really think and read about abolition. And like, it's not actually that intimidating. Like I said, if you start to truly like practice it just like in your fucking head, like it's huge. It opens up so many doors. And community has been my way of like being able to explore that and understand that, and also realize, yes, it's fucking hard, but like it's what we got to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, community.
Well, I listened to this one podcast. It's called like We Have to Talk About Britney. And the host
Mm-hmm.
always is talking about how Britney is her body. And I think it's so interesting because I think you're very similar to Britney in that way. You're dancers. And it's like, you both had injuries, but like you persevere. And like the way you got into abolition and community and caretaking is like through actually doing it, like because you had to get
Right.
in there physically with your body.
And that's so funny you say that too, because when I started like going out to the protests, in the beginning of the summer, I really felt like my asset or like what I could provide was my body. It's like so funny you bring that up because truly before the park, I was a frontliner. Like that's really where I felt like I could really, like be of service to like the movement. As I'm like, I'm fucking sturdy.
You
I'm
are.
not very afraid. I also know like the way they're gonna fucking come at me is not gonna be the same way they're gonna come at a fucking black man. So
Right.
like I and there's a lot of stuff to go with that too of like there's so many complications of not complications but just like there have been times that people were like, yeah, please stand in front of me, that's fine. There have been times that I've checked in and my friend doesn't want that, and that's fine. And how do you be there for someone physically while respecting their boundary, whatever. I felt like that was where I was comfortable because I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking sturdy, I can take a punch, I can take, I my the first raid that happened, or like attempted raid, there was hours long standoff at the park with the cops. Like I was in front of a barricade and they literally snatched the barricade from under my feet. Like I flipped like a pancake. I had this huge bruise and I was like, yeah, no, this is what I'm like, I'm good. This is what I was like here to do. So it was very weird that like, that's how I kind of came into it. And then I ended up at the park and I don't think I expected to be so invested in it and being stagnant too and being just like in this one place. And like, yeah, we like got beat up by the cops like a couple times there, but it's different than that marching and frontlining type of protest. It's very different like type of work. So it was weird to like to just be so taken by this place and like just feeling very feeling like it was really important that I was willing to sort of like shift my protest. And yeah, but it did come from like a physical place at first. Like that's, and I also was very much like, oh, like there was two fucking tropical storms at the park that we like literally weathered and like held down the fort. And I was like, yeah, this is what I can do. I'm sturdy, but it was this interesting challenge too of like, okay, but can I take myself seriously enough to like to be beneficial in another way, where it's like, like what other strengths do I have besides like I can fall good, but it was also weird though because sometimes I would miss it. Sometimes there is a different type of simplicity of like being a frontliner that it's just like I know where I'm supposed to go. And I know that when the cops get in my face, I'm supposed to stand there and I'm supposed to, like there's a simplicity to that.
Right.
And the other work was like literally the complete opposite. Is like always questioning, oh, was I supposed to do that? I maybe shouldn't have done that. Am I supposed to go here? Like as a non-Black person, I'm like Latinx, I'm Cuban, but like as a to many white passing Cuban, like, okay, how do it's like the complete opposite sort of way of moving is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's an interesting challenge to try to do both. And then yeah, obviously the organizing type one took over because that's like, but also there was the about, now I'm just rambling, sorry, but I'm like,
no, you're good.
Thinking about bodies, like our community really transformed after the raid because there was something about being in a physical space together 24/7, being bodies together always. That was like hugely important. And yeah, when we had to splinter away during the winter, it was fucking rough. And you could tell it's like people just miss each other, whether they like know it or not, because we also are always fighting. But like, but yeah, this physical closeness, and one of the biggest goals that we've had since the raid was just like, we need a space again. We need to have a community space, and like that's something I'm passionate about. Is like like an abolitionist community space. Like it ended up being necessary because it's like your office and your life. And if your life in Abolition Park is like practicing abolition, then it's like all right there. It's like this fucking weird little lab,
Right.
But also housing. Housing is also why we need a space. So donate to Abolition Park on Venmo.
Yes.
So good question, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I just think I hate to like tarnish this like beautiful conversation by comparing it to improv, but I have to because that's how we met
No,
and
do
that's
it.
where we grew and became friends. But
Same
it's
thing,
like,
community. Yeah.
honestly, and you were always the first one out there. You know what I mean? Can I get a suggestion? You asked for the suggestion. You then were like, I'm going to be in the first scene. You were like, I'm going to be in the second scene. Like, it was, you were doing swipe edits. And it's like, I
So
was
I was a
standing on,
hog.
no, I
It was
admired it so
terrible.
much because I was like standing on the side. I've done shows where I have not gone out once. And it's like, what was the point? I drove to the
I
city.
probably should have done more shows like that. I'm not gonna lie.
No, no. But it's like you have always been on like the forefront of something, and now it's like you're on the forefront of the thing. And it's just
I
such,
mean, I'm not
it's so
gonna.
cool.
I don't think
No, you're.
I'm
I'm
on the
not. You're not.
forefront,
No, but you
but
as an
I think I'm
individual are
around the
doing
people who
stuff.
are.
No, yeah, but
I'm
that's because you're
trying,
humble.
right?
I'm just
I
saying,
mean, I
like,
feel incredibly lucky to also just to have met some of the people that I've met. Like, I met this woman who, because Phoebe is listening, will just say is my friend.
mm-hmm.
Um, uh, that I like went to a march she did before the park, and it was like about abolition, and she did like a breakout session where like it was a march to a place, and then there was like, okay, now you guys are gonna talk, and she gave you like classwork, and I was like, that rocks. And I
Yeah,
met her, and then I saw her at the park too, and she is someone who's like definitely changed my life. Like I've been very fortunate to be around some like fucking stellar, way more seasoned, way more educated abolitionists than I that have like been gracious enough to like teach me.
well, yeah. I'm not saying you're like the queen of the abolition. I'm just saying
I
you're
know.
doing the work, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like
Thank
wild
you.
to see. I was gonna say something, but Phoebe's watching. Um,
No, we can edit it out.
yeah.
No.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we used to go to bars after class, and you were like 19, and it's like you weren't scared, and I
Oh,
was like
the
24, and I was
FBI
scared.
knows about that. No.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, I think it's just like delusion. I think I
Love
just
it.
like it's like the same reason that I like think that I can just like I'm like I'll make movies, I'll do this that. It's just like this kind of crazy just belief that like I don't know, it has to be real. I mean, do I think we will achieve abolition in our lifetime? Realistically, no, I don't think that. But I think it's really important to act like we're going to, like to
Yeah.
be doing the things that would make that happen. And I mean, I don't know. I think that's like also my fake it till you make it mentality that I've had since I was like a teenager.
Yeah.
That's like that made me able to go to a bar. It was just like I am playing pretend, and then it will be real.
Yeah.
um,
Very gaga.
I guess it's everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, that was wonderful. I love hearing. I do have a fun pop pondering question. So I just ask every guest a question with the word pop in it. And sometimes it's
Cute.
tangential and sometimes it makes sense. And the one I chose for you is Pop, also known as Dirty Pop, was an NSYNC song. Who's your favorite member? I had to ask you because you're like boy crazy. I mean, you have to have an opinion.
I do love boys. I do love boys. Um, my favorite NSYNC member. Okay, now I'm just like, do I remember which ones are in which? No, yeah, JC.
Yes, that's
JC
the correct
is
answer.
NSYNC. Yeah,
Yes.
it's the correct answer. I mean, he's hot. He's got the vocals, and
Yes.
also he was famously a judge on America's Best Dance Crew, Next Best Dance Crew, which I
Exactly.
loved.
Yes.
What's the acronym? AM. He was great. I love him.
Shout out JC Chazé.
Exactly.
I hope he's listening. I bet,
I hope so
he would
too.
love Community as well. He must. He was in a boy
And
band.
JC, you should also donate to Abolition Park on Venmo. And throw some
Yeah.
money at the Stonewall protest. Why don't you, JC?
I mean, come on.
I feel like I really want to see what his house looks like.
Oh
Because I'm
yeah.
like, he's got money, but like, what kind of money, you
Right.
know?
I feel like they're maybe it was Backstreet Boys. One of their managers was like so shady.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is he married, JC?
I don't know.
Why did he never act? All right, let's bring him back.
Yeah,
Let's bring him
okay.
out.
Come on here.
Why is
Welcome,
Justin
JC.
Timberlake the one that's
Ugh.
doing the acting? Oh God.
He shouldn't be doing
Just kidding. Social
anything.
Network,
Okay, I'll give him that. But like,
everything though. Yeah,
yeah. No, that
it's a
country
lot.
album after that was bad. I didn't even listen to it. I know it was
That
bad.
was no money.
Sexy Back wasn't even that good. I don't even think. Like I'm trying to. My mom's gonna get mad because she likes
I
Justin
mean,
Timberlake.
I
She's gonna
do
get
fuck with
mad.
the oldies, quote unquote, just the JT. I mean, like I love a senorita. Like I'm not gonna lie, I
Okay.
do fuck with that. But like what he's become, I'm like less interested in.
Yeah.
Got a little too cocky, I think.
Oh, for
Or maybe he's
sure.
great and just has a lot of great friends. I don't know.
Maybe I hope
Like
he has a
Ryan
great
Reynolds, I
community.
think people love. I don't
Yeah,
really totally get the Ryan Reynolds thing, but it seems like he's got a lot of friends and people love him.
that's true.
It's my hot Ryan Reynolds take.
I mean, he got married on a plantation like not that long ago.
Oh my
I'm gonna get
God,
canceled. I'm
that's
so sorry. My producer's like looking at
true.
me and she's like, "We're gonna kick you off the Lincoln Lodge Network." You mentioned Ryan Reynolds was married at a plantation in 2014. I don't know why I know
No, to
that, but
Blake Lively, right?
yeah.
Why did they do that?
And then,
What is up with
like,
these
I think last
people?
summer they were
Why
like
can't people do
trying to get them
better?
to apologize, and they like didn't apologize. I don't believe. When this episode comes out, I will have researched if they did apologize, but I don't think they did.
I don't.
Oh,
That you, a very rich person, can get married. Why there? Por qué? Yo no sé.
there are dozens of castles in Ireland and Scotland you can get married in. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. I want someone to get called out for that and then the people to be like, yeah, we did it because we're racist. just like say it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know.
Oh man. Matt James and Rachel, the racists, are back together. Have you heard? From The Bachelor.
I'm not Bachelor Nation. I can only handle the
Oh,
Housewives, but good
for
to know.
Bachelor Nation, you guys know it's a disgrace.
Oh,
Why'd they gotta do my guy like that? Anyways, no,
man.
I don't know. Abolition. Abolition requires radical forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also, that girl sucks.
Well,
Yeah.
on that note, that girl sucks. We're going to do our passion plugs. So I have a feeling
Ooh,
I know what you're going to plug, but I'll go first while you get ready. Um,
okay.
so I wanted to plug a local business from my town. I would like to plug Beer on the Wall Park Ridge. It's a craft beer focused retail store and beer cafe with 12 rotating drafts and over 600 bottles and cans available for on site consumption or takeaway. And I just want to say, like, I've spent so much time from the first iteration of the live show of Pop. I wrote the proposal sitting at Beer on the Wall in like, I don't know, October 2019. And I've like spent hours sitting on the patio during COVID. I don't even drink beer. I just like cider. And I just wanted to give them a shout out because I think they're doing great work. And they did donate when my cousins and I held Black Lives Matter Day of Action last summer. They did donate, and I was like very happy about that. So I just want to shout them out. But I'll let you
Shout out.
give your passion plug.
Thank you. I can do one or I can do
Go.
a couple
You
of
can do
the
a couple.
speed
You can do a
round.
couple. Yeah.
Okay, well, you may have heard that you can donate to Abolition Park on Venmo or Cash App or GoFundMe. You can also follow us, them, it on Instagram. That's money that will go directly to housing people, directly to resources that, like, I mean, housing is the really big one. But yeah, unfortunately, we still live in a capitalist society and we do need money to survive. Um, Speaking of money, you could also donate to Stonewall protests. And if you're in the New York area, you should come out to the Stonewall protest. Um, Also, Abolition Eats is a food, like grocery and prepared food distro um, group. They're they are obviously they're spawn of Abolition Park, and those are some great comrades, and they need help with money, and you can Venmo them, and this is all same thing, to get groceries, to give to the community. It's hugely helpful, and they work so hard, and they really give people like a shit ton of food. It's like actually vital. Um, and you can also follow Yum Yoda on Instagram. Yum Yoda is a brand. He's a guy we know, whatever. He has designed some like really beautiful Abolition Park and Abolition Eats shirts that you can purchase, and like all of those proceeds, same thing, go to Abolition Eats, and he's also gonna, I think, end up donating stuff for some mental health services. He's also an activist that I know from the space. So basically, if you give money to any of these things, or if you follow me on Twitter at Almond Milk Hotel, and on Instagram at Rebecca Bulnes, Bulnz, you'll probably see me posting about a lot of things that you could give money to if you have a lot of money, and they'll all go to very good and essential things. Is that it?
Yes, that was wonderful. And I will
And
link
it
on the social
is
media.
necessary.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
We all need to be doing whatever we can. So,
Yes, for sure.
thank
And also,
you.
if you can't contribute with money, I get that. I'm struggling. Um, just follow these things and start learning about these things, and if you're around, show up. That's also huge. It helps us for everyone to be doing their part to understand abolition, and then maybe you can get involved. Okay, that's the last thing I'm saying.
No, that was great. I thank you so much. It was great to see you.
Thank you. It was so fun talking to you. I miss you.
I miss you
Come to
too.
New York.
I'm trying, okay? It's going to happen, hopefully before the end of the year.
Okay.
So,
Okay, good.
thank you all for listening to Pop of Passion, produced by Christine Ferrera. Please follow the show on social media at Pop of Passion and at popofpassionpodcast.com. I'm Jax Barker. Go out and be the light, living your passion.